And it was definitely a little bit different than what I've been channeling from in the past couple of months. But I think you may all be able, if you're watching this now live here with me, or you're watching the replay later, then you're definitely going to see how this also applies to you. Because I've been talking to a lot of people that have been going through a lot of shifts lately in their life. So let's just begin. The title that they gave me was Heart-Aligned Action. And the past couple of months were more about kind of being on your own, retreating, kind of pulling your energy back and being in this void. If you watched some of the previous lives where I shared channeled messages, you may remember that they were mentioning being in this cave, being in this void, and not really seeing the path ahead of you clearly. So let's just begin. The title is Heart-Aligned Action. And they say, last time we spoke, we were together in a void, in a cave where you could not clearly see what was happening, where you kind of felt like you were floating and couldn't really touch the ground, where you could not really tell what was up or what was down or what was left or what was right. And now you are all of a sudden blinded by the sun, and you feel like it is overwhelming. But we are asking for you to call upon us, because it is time for people to connect more with the realm of the dragon, so that they can channel their inner dragon energy. It is not a coincidence that there is dragon energy all around in your media, and that it is becoming more popular to be into dragons. It is because you are collectively remembering the time when we used to be allies. A lot of stuff is coming up that will require you to set boundaries in your individual lives. The world is ready to set boundaries. The world is ready to reject that which no longer works, that which it no longer accepts, and that which is no longer in alignment with the new energy of the new earth. We are asking you to call upon us and channel your inner masculine energy. It is in taking action that you can bring forward your creative feminine energy, and you all possess these energies. It is all about balance. It is about moving forward with action and intention in a heart-aligned way, so that you become more activated in your missions, and so that you can inspire those around you. But it is time to stand up for what you believe in, set boundaries, and this is a word that has been coming up a lot in the last couple of weeks in your spiritual circles, in your individual lives. And we would dare to bet that in about 75% of those listening or reading, the word boundaries has come up in conversations with the people close to them and in conversations with themselves. You are now coming out of this cave of darkness, and you are ready for a new adventure, ready to travel to a higher timeline of heart-aligned action. It is time to be courageous and to trust and to make the moves that your soul requires. It is time for you to believe in yourself and to allow for the big shifts to happen that your soul requires, so that you can receive the abundance that is yours. It is time for you to make your own decisions, the decisions that your soul has made. It is time for you to stop letting somebody else run your life for you. Finally, we ask, what is it in your life that is being imposed on you by someone or something else? And if you are being honest, what is it that your heart desires and that you are ready to set boundaries about? So that was a specific question from them, that last little bit. So if you're here with me live, ask yourself that and take a few minutes maybe, or a few seconds, and feel free to share it in the chat. What is coming up for you when you hear this message now? Is there anything specifically immediately that you feel that this is about for you? Or how you feel, if you feel like this indeed resonates and that you are kind of coming out of this cave. So feel free to share that with me, or anything that's been coming up. We're just kind of having a chat about anything. And I've been hearing from people, from a lot of people, that they were forced to set boundaries, and where in the past it was easy maybe to avoid certain things, it's not going to be that easy anymore. You're going to find yourself in situations where you're going to have no other choice. And where you're going to be forced to make some different decisions, some different choices. Or things are just not going to go the way that you had planned for them to go. Or if you would like me to pull a card, because I have a few different card decks here too. If you have questions, put them in the chat. And I have been doing some readings for people the last couple of days, because we do have the full moon coming up. And I've been doing some full moon readings for people. And they all also have the same theme of really setting boundaries. Maria says, hi from Denmark. I feel very pulled to the dragons, and there is something coming up, little bits and pieces. Yeah, the dragons are coming up more and more for people. Now, for people that never really worked with them before. And I have people telling me, oh, I'm meditating, and suddenly there's a dragon, and I didn't even know dragons were a real thing. Apparently, they are a real thing. So they are like, what do I do with this dragon? Why is this dragon showing up? And usually it is because you're at a point in your life where you are ready to really shed a lot of old layers that don't necessarily have anything to do with you, that in this lifetime. They could have to do with stuff from past lives, with really old, deep-rooted belief systems that were passed down to you from your parents, from their parents, and so on. And that's what these dragons are coming here to do. They are pulling out these roots completely. And I've been seeing images of these roots being pulled out. And that is really happening for a lot of people, but that can make us feel very weird, like we're floating, like we're kind of not standing. You don't really see, like they said in the message, you don't know what is up, what is down, what is left, what is right. You're kind of just floating around. But little by little, if you call upon them, you call them in, they're going to be there to help you. And they'll make it clear how they're going to come help you. And Divine says, hello from Cali. Yes, I have shared with you before that trust and honoring my body, my boundaries is coming up. Make a choice that it will be hard, but it's for the highest good. Yes. So now, like a lot of us indeed know the choices that we have to make. We know what we have to do, but it may not be comfortable. Maybe some of these choices were just really annoying, uncomfortable, confrontational. And now you kind of have to do that, because not doing it is going to be worse than doing it, if that makes sense. So basically, what the dragons are saying with this message is it's time now to really take action. Like they said, take action. It is time now to take action because it's for your own good. It is indeed for your own good. So yeah. Oops, I'm scrolling, but it's kind of weird. Maria says, I actually got dragon cards in 2017-18, but first now I feel them more. Yes, 2 years ago I got healed by dragons through 7 months. So 7 months that you were experiencing that they were healing you. Yeah, because that is what they do. They are actually really good at trauma healing, because dragons, and I talk about this a little bit too in the video course that I have on dragons, they are able to go, they're like a beam of light that can travel through all the dimensions and connect all the different layers. So they can be connected to the angelic realms, and simultaneously they can be completely anchored into the earth and to some very deep layers of memories of the planet, of trauma memories. And that is why working with them can be so powerful. So when you call on the dragons, a lot of shifts can start to happen in your life. You can all of a sudden notice that it becomes chaos first. It becomes chaotic first because they are the cleanup crew. They are in there cleaning up all the stuff that is not good for you, and they're not going to be all fluffy about it, but they do it because they have so much love for humanity, especially your personal dragon guides. Their mission is to get you to fully shed all the stuff that you don't need so that you can recognize your own magnificence. That is really what they do. And they also see your potential. They see your strength. They see what you're capable of. Even when you cannot yet see it, they can see it. So they're going to come in and just say, hey, all this stuff, you don't need this. I'm going to just take this. We're going to get rid of it for you. This is what you're going to be doing now. And we are sometimes not ready for the stuff that they are already seeing. But it's in that moment that you have to trust that you are being protected, because they are protecting you. And at the same time, they are illuminating the truth and burning away all illusion. But sometimes that can feel like you're in chaos. That can really feel like you're in some kind of chaos. So if that's been your life, it's not that strange. That is actually a very normal part of this whole spiritual awakening, because a lot of people think, and a friend of mine, Alexis, did a really good podcast on that, that, oh yeah, I'm on this spiritual awakening journey. Life is so good. I'm manifesting. Everything is positive. I'm never angry. I'm never sad. That's not what it is. Because this stuff is going to come up. You will feel sad. You will feel angry, but you don't have to identify with these emotions. You can see them as energy. See them as an energy that you are experiencing, that you are seeing, and then you can choose, okay, I don't need this. I see what this is. I see where this came from, and I'm now going to decide to release it because it's not helping me, but I learned a valuable lesson from it, and then you can just let it go. But it's if you hang on to that feeling that you're going to basically stop yourself from evolving. So let me see. I have another comment. Oh, it was a healer who healed me with her working with dragons. Yes. And I believe more and more people are now meeting dragons. And it's not that there are more dragons. They have always been here, but more and more people are opening up to the fact that there is this dragon, celestial dragon energy, and it is actually in origin an angelic energy. But they also had to come down to Earth, and somehow they turned into this dragon being. But a lot of people are afraid of dragons, of course, because of all the stories. But in reality, the dragon is like one of the best allies of humanity. Let me see. Georgina says, on Thursday, I was told I have pre-cancer cells and need a full hysterectomy ASAP. After initial fear and overwhelm, I now see this as a beautiful part of my journey with sacred. I think that was a typo. Feminine healing collectively. I'd love to hear from the dragons on this, please. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna pull a dragon card. I'm gonna pull some cards. And I'm feeling, I knew I had to have my Anna Grandmother of Jesus book with me because I actually use that as an oracle. And I will flip open the pages sometimes and see what message comes through. Okay, let's see. Green gold dragon from Sirius brings universal knowledge to your spiritual pathway. Learn about spiritual technology. Be a transmitter of sacred knowledge. And that's this card. Can you see this? I need to close the chat so I can actually see the screen. Is this mirrored or is this not mirrored? I have no idea. This other one is the dusky pink dragon from Andromeda. Prepares all your chakras to embody higher love. Accept and radiate higher love. Touch others with its flame. And immediately when I'm reading this, I'm hearing the words transcending illusion. So transcending the illusion of who you are, your identity of who you are. And that this is happening to you not to punish you, but this is more like you have a solid inner knowing of who you are. And you are not limited to your physical body, which you know. And this is happening because I do feel like there's a heavy, they're showing me like the sacral chakra is really heavy, but almost like you are ready to release so much of the past that this is a very like drastic way of doing that. And what I'm hearing is like the healing process would be very smooth and that you will then feel lighter too. There's going to be an energetic shift that's going to come with that. So let me just flip open this book and see what happens. And usually there will be some message. So I'm reading this part about Yeshua and Mary Magdalene spending most of their time in seclusion in the desert, dedicating their life to the service of God, basically becoming really devoted to the Essene teachings. It's almost like your soul chose, what I'm getting from this is your soul chose to really go on this intense initiation. This lifetime was just such an intense initiation, but your body really collected all of this energy. And it's like so much that there needs to be a recalibration. It's almost like there needs to be a physical recalibration. And that's what this is. And that's kind of why this is happening. Of course, take what resonates, but this is kind of what I'm getting from them about this. So let me know if that resonates. So if anybody else has any questions or what's been coming up for them, let me know if you would like to pull me to pull a card or something. Maria says, I would like to hear, are there dragon queens incarnated as human? That's a very interesting question because that is a topic that I've been working around for the past 2 months that I have not yet talked about. I have actually been very hesitant about talking about this. I have been working with this topic for a couple of months now because I have seen in the Akashic records that in Lyra there were several dragon mothers, basically dragon mothers, like dragons, actual physical dragons incarnated. And during the Lyran Wars, what I saw was that a lot of them were killed, their eggs were killed, basically their eggs were destroyed, and the eggs that they still carried inside of them, they were cut open, and it was all basically, they were taken out of their body. And the male dragons were killed, their wings were chopped off, their heads were chopped off. It was all very like a display of power from the negatively polarized reptilians. And what I have then heard is that a lot of these dragons were so traumatized by this experience that they decided to come back. And I talk about this a little bit also in my dragon course, that there is a link between certain bloodlines, in the past specifically, Lyran bloodlines, certain Atlantean families who had connections with the dragons. And they were actually a lot of these dragons that were so traumatized from this experience that they decided to come back as humans. And they didn't really want to come back as dragons. They were like, we're done with this because we're just going to get chopped up. Let's just come back as a human instead. But they still had this spiritual DNA. And also, if you look at energy, when you like make that more compact and dense, you get physical DNA. So there was some bloodlines were able to, that's what I talk about too in my story, Angels and Dragons and other things. They were able to merge with this dragon somehow and ride these dragons. So they decided to still work with the dragons that were okay with coming back as dragons, back when dragons were still very physical on planet Earth. And a lot of these families were basically spiritual royalty. And it is because it's not royalty like we know royalty now. It's not about power. It was all about spiritual inheritance, spiritual ancestry. And a lot of them I've seen in the Akashic records, because the thing is, we are now all coming back. Like all the ones, important souls from like thousands and thousands of years are coming back for this ascension. And that's why a lot of people are, oh, we can't all be high priestesses. We can't all be reincarnated kings and queens or reincarnated pharaohs or reincarnated warlords. But the thing is, a lot of them are here right now that chose to be here in this timeline right now because it is such an important time. And in the past, they were all spread out over centuries and centuries, and now they're all coming back. That's why there's so many people that are like, oh, I knew Jesus. I remember Jesus from my past life. And then it's like, are we all just making this up? We can't all know Jesus. But yes, actually, you can, because a lot of people are here right now because they want to be here. And they were important people in the past. And they have come back in this time. I know I'm kind of getting sidetracked. But so the Dragon Queen stuff, I definitely believe there were different versions of Atlantis, because Atlantis lasted very long. Lemuria, Avalon, and they all worked with dragons. So over these tens of thousands of years, there were a variety of different dragon riders, dragon knights, dragon commanders, dragon queens, and also just other bloodlines of royalty. And they are now all here. A lot of them are here because they want to be here to assist. So Georgina says, perfect clarification. Thank you. I hope that that was helpful. And what I'm also feeling is definitely like be really gentle with yourself. And I remember telling you that in the past, now is the time to really take care of you. Like, a lot of us that have been taking care of other people for years. Now you're gonna be like, this is one of these boundaries that now you cannot avoid anymore. You have to really start taking care of yourself right now. So Maria says, a seal or symbol I once saw in a healing on me 6 years ago has come up again. I think it relates to dragons. Also the color black and white. The symbol was round, like a labyrinth inside. Can I get a card around it? I don't quite understand it. Let me see. I'm feeling that the Lemurian cards might have the answer. Also, if anybody is watching this later or now, and you feel like this answer also applies to you, it's because it probably also does. I always feel that when I answer these questions, it's always an answer to multiple people, or it's never just for one person, I feel. And then I pull a card that has a dragon on it. Travel. Inner and outer journeys. Believe in yourself. Big shifts. Let me see. That's what this card looks like. So, travel, inner and outer journeys, believe in yourself. What immediately is coming up is the word portal. Like symbols, light codes, they can all be portals to other dimensions. So I don't know if you could be able to draw this symbol or just visualize this symbol. And they're showing me an image of you meditating and just having this symbol in your third eye. And it's almost like a portal to go to other places or to your own Akashic records or to your higher self and answers that you could be getting through this symbol. So try that out and let me know. Send me an email, send me a message. Try that out because that's the image that they're showing me. So I'm curious. So yeah, if anybody else has any questions, and we don't just have to talk about dragons, of course. We can just talk about anything that's coming up for you that you've been noticing, any questions that you have about Akashic records, about past lives, about just anything. We're here to just have a metaphysical chat. In the meantime, am going to pull some cards for whoever is watching from this new deck that I got. It's this here. I don't know if you can see this. It's called the Green Witch's Oracle deck, and I got it, and it has been very accurate. It has been very accurate. I still have to use the book a little bit, but I've been surprised. Every card I've pulled from this has been very accurate. And I actually did not used to use cards for years. I started channeling when I was 13, something like that. And I never really had to use any cards, but then I started playing around with them. And now I love cards. So let me see. This is for anybody watching. So, planning, setting intentions, optimism. Earthworm, clarity, rumination. Salt, protection, banishing negativity. So I'm going to show these cards. This right here. Sowing, planning, setting intentions, that aligns with that heart-aligned action, taking heart-aligned action, and also trusting, just trusting that it's going to work out in your favor. And setting intentions, planning, but always going back to your heart, making sure that when you do something, that it is because it's coming from your heart. Now this earthworm, clarity, rumination. I feel like this is about not jumping into things, not rushing into things too much, and really being clear on what you want. And again, going back to your heart and being clear. And at the same time, setting those boundaries again, this salt card, setting boundaries, discerning what is good for you, what is not good for you, and protecting your own energy. So those are the three that came up in general for whoever is watching this right now. The energy of August feels very much about tying up loose ends and again pulling out those roots. So that's what's coming up. I'm going to pull some angel cards too, just in general for those that are here, or if you find this later. So all is well. Archangel Jeremiah, everything is happening exactly as it is supposed to, with hidden blessings that you will soon understand. Again, if you know that you are connecting to your heart, then you don't have to control the outcome, because it will happen exactly the way it is supposed to happen for you. Relationship harmony, Archangel Raguel, we angels are opening the hearts of everyone involved. Arguments and conflicts are being resolved now. This is not necessarily only about romantic relationships. This is about interactions with anyone in general. So this is something that's been coming up for the people that I've been working with in one-on-one coaching, that they've been finding themselves having problems with people that they thought that they had no problems with at all. Suddenly there's conflict that comes up and it cannot be avoided. But it's all happening because it's necessary. Either this connection can up level and there is still some of that stuff in the way, some of these old layers that on both sides need to be cleared out so that the connection can up level, or it's just no longer in alignment and it's time just to be released. And again, that may be uncomfortable, but it is going to be for the best. And then divine order, again, Archangel Raguel, everything is how it needs to be right now. Look past the illusion and see underlying order, which is basically almost the same. It's almost the same as this other card. It's almost exactly the same. So again, this is just asking us, you, everyone, to trust the bigger picture and to know that even when it is chaotic, even when things are unclear, you are still exactly where you need to be. And sometimes people tend to think, oh, I am not being spiritual enough because my life is a mess or because I don't have it all figured out. But if you look at Jesus's life, his life was a mess. Half of the time his life was a mess. And he was running from the Romans. He was always in some kind of controversy. And if you look at the majority of the ascended masters and their lives, it's just basically one big adventure of all kinds of chaos. And that is how they ultimately realized their mastery. So let me see. I also found that like-minded people have come into my life in the last year and a half. Soul Tribe, and it has been many people. Yes, I definitely feel that more and more people are now coming together. This is something that I started receiving about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, that a lot more people would be finding each other also in real life. There is a desire for people to connect with others in real life. And of course, the internet is great and all of that. But more and more like-minded people are going to be coming together because these timelines, we are in this split, and I can really see it happening more and more. You can talk to your neighbor and they can say, oh, the world is a mess. The world is a disaster. The world is horrible. And that is their reality. That is their experience. And then you can talk to somebody else and they are going to say, my life is going very well. I am manifesting all of these amazing opportunities. It is coming to me. I am meeting all of these great people in my life. And that doesn't mean that the person that is saying, oh, my life is horrible, that they are not doing good. It is just that they are on slightly different timelines, or that somebody will look at the world and see nothing but war. And yes, we should not be dismissive of what's going on, because that is indeed going on. But it is also because now we are seeing this contrast, and we are now seeing all of this being illuminated because there is the contrast, because there is more consciousness, because people are starting to think more about what is actually happening, the systems that are in place, are they actually good for us? And in the past, people were just not thinking about those things, or not really in the way that we see that people are now thinking about those things. So you're gonna be seeing more like-minded people now, because they are also more outspoken. And in the past, I don't think people were really vocal about those things. They would be more quiet. So yeah, let me see. So yeah, more like-minded people. That is definitely happening. And we're going to be manifesting quicker too. We're going to start to manifest way more quickly, I feel, than in the past. So why do we need to release all this stuff then? Because it is like dead weight. It is dead weight that is basically just hanging on. We don't need it anymore. So, and I feel like I do say this in every live, but it's also because we are constantly shedding stuff. But this month, definitely, it's like reaching the climax of all the work that we've been doing for these past couple of months. So now you will also feel that you may feel energized, like you're getting more energized again after months of being very drained, or feeling like you were constantly moving and you weren't really moving forward. Now you're starting to see that, oh, okay, things are starting to get a little bit easier. So let me know in the comments if that has been your experience, or how you have been feeling. If you still feel tired, let me know. And in the meantime, I'm gonna pull some of these spirit animal cards. These are really simple cards, but I feel like they are very accurate. Oops, and there's one just falling already. So let me know if you have anything else to share, any questions. Okay. Playfulness and bliss, 3 of shells, and it's the dolphins. Now we have just come out of this Syrian energy. August and July are always very Syrian, and you can feel that that is always a time for inspiration, new ideas. I feel that's always a time where it's easier to tap into new experiences, new creative ideas, and to manifest them, to start to bring them into the physical world. So that is definitely lining up with the stuff that the dragon said, the heart-aligned action. Taking this heart-aligned action, and also not taking yourself too seriously. So the stuff that these cards were all saying, all is well. Everything is exactly, it's perfect. Everything is fine the way it needs to be. Just have fun with it. Because that's the one thing, I guess, that God, Mother, Father, God, Source, wants us to remember is don't be so serious. Just have fun. Just have fun with it, basically. And this card has been coming up so much in readings for people. I have pulled this card almost for like 3 out of 4 people. I've pulled this card, the Traveler. It's a deer, it's jumping, it's a deer, and it's flexible. So what does this mean? The deer is flexible. It's the 0 card. In traditional tarot, that's the Fool. Adventure potential. So everything is possible. You've come out of this cave, this void, but everything is possible. So instead of feeling overwhelmed and like you're floating up and down and everywhere and you can't really feel the ground, and you feel like, oh my God, what is actually happening here? Feel, oh, there's all these possibilities. I can now choose what I want to do. And I feel that that is what's happening too. We are shifting from thinking that our faith is set in stone to realizing that we have free will and we are the creators of our own life. And that's what I also mentioned in a video that I posted recently about reading timelines, reading the future. In the past, you would go to a psychic and they would say, oh yeah, this is going to happen for you, and you would follow their advice. But now, because we are basically constantly quantum leaping, we are constantly timeline jumping, because we are able to tap into our own quantum field more efficiently and manifest way faster. So it's basically all possible. Like, there's people that are now organizing retreats that 2 years ago were like, I don't know what I'm doing. And suddenly they meet the right people, they do something, and it doesn't necessarily have to be some kind of spiritual thing. You can, if you're an author, you want to write a book. 2 years ago, you could not get a single word written on paper, and now your book is everywhere on sale. It's on Amazon, it's in stores. This stuff is happening. And I see it more and more. It's happening for a lot of people. And that's why these dragons are coming in to really clear away a lot of this stuff. And this last card here, Page of Shells, Intuition, Inspiration. It's a frog. Can you see this? Yes. So it's time now to really take that action, this heart-aligned action based on your intuition, this inspiration, these ideas that you are having that are available to you. You can now take action. Now is the time. So let me see. I have read about the 2 civilizations before Lemuria and Atlantis, Avalon, Elysium, and the Lion Kingdom. Have you heard about them? And if so, were there dragons around these times? I do know that there were several civilizations on Earth before Lemuria was founded. And I think why a lot of people don't really mention them or talk about them is because Earth before Lemuria was kind of like a vacation planet, a planet where a lot of other star systems, they would come and go. They would come and go because it was such an interesting planet to study. And we have had a whole bunch of different kinds of people here. There's also Hyperborea, which is kind of also called like the Slavic Atlantis, where giants ruled and stuff like that. And there was also a very large African civilization that was extremely advanced before Lemuria. This was before Lemuria. Not a lot of people know about this. Diana Cooper talks about this a little bit. I cannot remember the name of it, but the way that I have seen it is that these were basically, you can almost call it like groups of scientists, galactic scientists that would come from other places, and they came and studied and they did research. And all of these different things later contributed to the foundation of Lemuria, which is basically the Project Earth. It's a project of all these different places combining their efforts and creating a civilization that's like a group project, basically. But I have not heard of this Lion Kingdom, so feel free to send me some information about that. But I'm pretty sure that dragons were around because I believe you have my PDF, Maria. You bought my PDF about the angels and dragons history. And the dragons were basically, they've always been there. They are one of the oldest beings in creation. They were around way before humanity in any galaxy was ever around. So dragons, I believe, have always been around. And they're still around now, but we just can't see them anymore in the physical. And Georgina says, definitely found my sacred tribe over the last few years, especially this year. Time now to release and step onto new alignment for the new earth. Yes, and it's definitely going to speed up even more. And what I'm also seeing is even within the spiritual community, and I recorded a podcast yesterday that I'm going to release in a few weeks with a friend of mine. And she also said that even within the spiritual community, there's going to be a filtration, like a system of filtration that's going to start happening where illusion and reality are going to become separated. So there is still a lot of ego involved in the spiritual community. And there's just a lot of stuff, also not on purpose. People are not purposely mean. Often it comes from wounding, even in the spiritual community. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be misalignment. So it's going to become more fine-tuned, and you're going to find even more who are truly your people, who are going to be coming into your life as a karmic lesson. And then you can be grateful for that. You can be thankful for that connection and release it in love and know, oh, this was a valuable lesson and I wish you well and you wish me well, and that's great. And then you're going to create space for more aligned friendships, partnerships, collaborations to occur. Lots of timeline jumping this month. So excited for the future, even with the upcoming surgery. Yes. Well, I wish you lots of healing. I know a few people that have had a hysterectomy, and I definitely believe it's an energetic thing. And like with all physical things, I feel, because I just broke my ribs 2 months ago. And it was going to take about 6 weeks of healing. They said, yeah, you're going to, basically, I went to the doctor and all they said was, because they didn't really say that much. It was like, yep, I just thought I had like a muscle, like something with my muscle. I fell and I was just moving around, and yes, it was painful. Of course it was painful, but I thought it's like a torn muscle or something. And the lady takes the x-ray and she's like, no, yeah, it's 2 broken ribs and they're pretty broken. They're not a little broken. They're like really broken. I'm like, well, that's awesome. And she just said, yeah, you're never going to be the same again. You're just going to have some broken ribs and they're going to grow back together, but they're going to be a little weird. I'm like, okay, then bye. And then she basically sent me home and said, you have to take it easy for 6 weeks. And I had my whole plan of, I just got off the plane 5 days earlier, then I break my ribs. I had a whole plan for my business, but I was forced to take 6 weeks off, almost completely off. But then I started seeing how God, Source, was redirecting my work. And now I'm offering things, different things that I may never have thought of if I did not break the ribs. So this is a very long story to just illustrate that there are things ready for you, waiting for you, probably, that you are going to find out about in this recovery period. You're going to meet new parts of yourself that are actually going to be really exciting. And I know that sounds very strange to say that about like surgery, post-surgery recovery, but I think you could look at it, like I said, like with excitement. I know it's really weird to say that because you're going to be recovering physically. Look at the new things you're going to learn about yourself. Yeah. And I think this is probably also coming from the dragons. Feeling and seeing incredible balance of sacred masculine and sacred feminine infinity sign. Yes. Yeah, I feel that now this is a period where you're forced to really take time to yourself, to really take care of yourself, and an energetic, like, harmonization, I think. That's kind of what I feel for you. So yeah, if you guys have any more questions, then you can put them in the comments. I'm gonna pull a few more cards, and after that, I think we're gonna start to wrap it up, but we cannot close this call without pulling some moon cards, because we have the full moon coming up on Monday. So I'm gonna pull some of these for you and anyone that finds this later. But it's definitely been interesting doing these moon readings for people, because you can also see how the energy shifts from month to month and how people also shift through these blocks. Because I have a few people that have worked with me with these moon readings a few months in a row now, and I can see how they worked through this energy that was coming up for them in the previous month, and how now there's all new energy opening up for them, which again is evidence of the fact that we are really shifting through energy way more rapidly than we used to, and how we're able to magnetize to us way more quickly our abundance and the stuff that we deserve. So that is one card, and I immediately, while saying that, I pull this: believe in the impossible. Believe in the impossible is what it says. So anybody watching, believe in the impossible. One more. Luck is on your side. So, and I usually do not like this deck, because there's some cards in there that really make me mad, actually. There's like these cards that are very confrontational and that are basically telling me to work on myself. And usually when I have this deck in my hand, I know it's going to be some bullshit, basically. But the fact that the last couple of days I have been pulling, not only for myself, but also for the people that I've been doing readings for, very positive cards that all talk about abundance, breaking through blocks, and like reaching results, achieving success. So that means that collectively we really must be breaking through some big things, even though it looks like chaos on the outside when you watch the news. Try to avoid it if you can. So yeah, I think that's about the message. That's about the message for today. So let me scroll and see if there's anything that stands out from this channeled message. So yeah, heart-aligned action. And remembering the time when you used to be allies with your celestial family, not just the dragons. The time when magic was real on planet Earth, remembering all of this stuff and bringing it back in your own life. And when we all bring that back in our own life, you're going to be able to see a collective shift. Setting boundaries. Setting the boundaries, coming out of this cave of darkness. And not being afraid, like being courageous, standing up for what you believe in. So those are really things that are coming up. And then the question, I'm going to repeat it one more time so you can think about it, and you can put it in the comments if you find this later. You can just write it down for yourself, just as a little homework for yourself. What's in your life that is being imposed on you by something or somebody else? And if you are being honest, what is it that your heart desires, and what are you ready to set boundaries about for yourself? And you could do this for yourself. You don't have to share this with anyone, so you can be as honest about it as you want, and then really take that question into meditation with you. pull some cards yourself and call upon the dragons. And if you would like more information on dragons, I do have a free playlist on YouTube called Dragon Lessons, with just some advice on how you can try to reach out to your dragon. And I also have a playlist on Akashic Records, how you can try to connect to your own Akashic Records. Because of course I can read your Akashic Records, and you can also play around with your own Akashic Records, because it is ultimately my goal for you to do the things that I can do. So I know that everybody has the ability to read their own Akashic Records. What I do with my readings is I open the door for you and I give you the foundation, and then you can start to play around with it. You can go and play around with everything that I have given you, and you can then start to investigate and find out more details and more past lives and stuff like that. So yeah. And if you enjoyed this live, if you're watching this later and you would like a reading or you would like to do one-on-one mentorship, I have a variety of different options. I have a free course on intuitive development. So just feel free to message me, tell me your story, and together we can see what I can do for you. So if you guys have no more questions, then we are going to say goodbye for today. And I wish you guys a great weekend and a great full moon on Monday. Bye-bye.